And the national electricity grid has suffered a fresh system collapse, plunging the country into darkness. Major cities in Nigeria, including the commercial nerve center Lagos, the nation's capital Abuja, are experiencing blackout for the umpteenth time this year. Major electricity distribution companies in different notices to customers said the national grid collapsed at about 11 a.m. today. The head of corporate communications, Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, Emeka Ezeh, said the system collapse caused outage in the entire southeast. That's the states of Anambra, Enugu, Abia, Imo, and Ebonyi. Ikeja Electric said the situation has affected the transmission stations within its network and resulted in a loss of power supply to customers. The discos are now apologizing to their customers over the development and assuring them that power will return once the grid is restored. To Borno, where the Northeast Development Commission has trained 300 women from the 6 northeastern states on how to mitigate effects of climate change by using energy-efficient cooking stoves. The training is to advocate the importance of saving the environment. And TVC News' Jesse Tafida reports.
The multifaceted climate change and its effects, ranging from desertification, drought, flooding, and the near disappearance of the Lake Chad Basin, puts the region in dire straits. This informed the decision by the NEDC to organize this training on adaptation strategies for climate resilience. The training is to address the use of energy-efficient stoves to mitigate the devastating effect of climate change.
We want them to understand what brings about climate change and how are we going to adapt to climate change when it comes, especially the burning of bush, the cutting of trees when there's shortage of rain. How can you supplement the rain that has been shortened?
The NEDC's goal is to discourage the use of firewood as a strategy to combat global warming.
If there will be strategies that these companies too will adopt to, it will be very good, so that it will cause less damage to the people in the environment, not only the people practicing the activities, but even the people living within the community. Because if you go to the farms now, your farm will not be near your house. So the person that will be affected will be the man in the village, because your farm is in the rural area.
It's very, very important because I have the knowledge of a lot of things. When there is that materials, gradually as this charcoal have effect, we gradually reduce it.
The women are expected to foster the push towards protecting the environment. At the end of the workshop, certificates, energy-efficient stoves, and cash were given to the women, courtesy of the Northeast Development Commission. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
And to electoral matters now, the Osun State Election Petition Tribunal has adjourned to next week's Tuesday hearing of the petition of Governor Gboyega Oyetola against the declaration of Ademola Adeleke as governor-elect. The adjournment follows the decision of the tribunal to grant the Independent National Electoral Commission, the People's Democratic Party, and Ademola Adeleke 7 days to respond to the pre-hearing form served on them by the tribunal. Rafiu Hamid has more on this.
It's the day fixed for pre-hearing session. Lawyers representing different parties in the matter had arrived courtroom early enough. But counsels to the PDP, INEC, and the governor-elect, Ademola Adeleke, pleaded for 7 days as required by law to respond to a written address filed by the petitioners. According to them, the pre-hearing form was served on them on Monday morning. Chairman of the tribunal adjourned the matter to Tuesday, 4th of October.
We merely dealt with preliminaries. We have not gotten to the level or stage of hearing proper. There are certain aspects of procedure that we should first of all attend to before we can now go to the trial of the case proper.
Election petition being used sui generis and time sensitive. That's why we are suggesting that we can take a stand down for them to fill the form so that we come back in the afternoon. But since they are insisting on having their rights, and even though, as we had in the tribunal, I submitted that the 7 days is the maximum, It's not that it's sacrosanct that they must be given 7 days. So, but in order to be fair to them, that was why the tribunal adjourned.
Counsel to the APC says the adjournment is not out of place.
It has to do with the fair hearing, and we wouldn't want anything to do anything that they will be asking to the proceeding to be set aside because they were not given the required number. But after crossing the pre-hearing now, you will see what will happen. The tribunal has the right to abridge time for all these things because we have only 180 days to complete the assignment.
Both the APC and the PDP expressed their readiness for the trial.
To that, because fair hearing is one of the fundamental rudiments of fair justice. So therefore, we have no issue about that, but I want to assure everybody that we have confidence in the tribunal and we are ready for the trial.
It's fair enough. This is the foundation of the proceedings, and we're happy that everywhere is peaceful, violence, there is no disturbance. We're happy that by October 4th, proceedings will continue.
Members and supporters of the political parties attended the court session. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Oshobo.
Ahead next year's general election, more groups in the north are declaring support for the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu. One of such is the Arawa Extra Network, which has members from all northern states. The leader of the group explained that the experience and antecedents of Bola Tinubu stands him out as the most competent candidate to succeed President Buhari as the nation's commander-in-chief. The national women leader of Arawa Extra also promised to mobilize several women to ensure that the APC wins come 2023.
Every woman, and even up to the grassroots, I think if you gather them, about 70% of them have their voter's card. And we've lectured them on the importance of voting the right candidate, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because in a situation where there is crisis, all you need is rescue. And we taught them to see that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the rescue for Nigeria.
Remember, Nigeria is a very, very rich country with enormous resources, but which lacks the capacity and leadership ability to harness those resources in order to take Nigeria to the desired status. So our confidence in Asiwaju is one of the reasons why we are investing heavily in this movement to support him.
In the pursuit of good governance in Nigeria, the focus should be on encouraging trustworthy and competent electoral aspirants. This is according to supporters of the APC presidential flag bearer, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They say Nigeria needs commitment to public service to quell the disenchantment with the political system, especially among the rapidly growing youth population. Correspondent Habida Lawal reports.
The drumbeats of 2023 general elections are getting louder, but beyond sentiment of party politics, the importance of leadership qualities, stellar antecedent, commitment and capacity to turn the corner should not be lost on any Nigerian. In reality, the country is in dire straits across the board, and supporters of APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu insist Africa's most populous country needs competent leadership.
The discussion that we held bilaterally confirmed what I've just said, that he is pan-Nigerian. He demonstrated it in Lagos. He had people in his cabinet from all parts of Nigeria. I'm not sure there's any other state government that had that inclination at all.
We are going to work for Bola Tinubu to ensure that he comes out as the president of this country by February next year.
A support group, Tinubu Shatima for Good Governance, is saying a Nigerian that works is what people are asking for, and it needs to start with the quality of leaders.
I believe is a proponent, is a believer of the ideas of good governance, and then is the vice presidential candidate too, despite the fact that Borno State had challenges, security challenges.
Don't be violent. Say your candidate. The best person is the person we need. The person that can bring development. That is our target. And the right person is Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
A leader must be one that can understand the problems, is clear-headed and resolute about solving them. The Boko Haram insurgency, banditry, kidnapping and sectarian violence are blights on the nation's development and should not be allowed to continue. Supporters of the APC presidential candidate are saying Nigeria needs a leadership that knows, shows and can go the whole hog with the Nigerian masses. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
We're staying on electoral matters. The opposition People's Democratic Party is insisting that it will face the forthcoming election as a united party despite the brewing crisis amongst its stakeholders. Spokesperson of the PDP presidential campaign, Charles Aniago, who featured on TVC News program this morning, said the party is on the same page with the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, on the need for equity and fairness, but states that the timeline to resolve the issue remains a challenge considering the closeness of the polls. Now, on the alleged violation of the party constitution, Mr. Aniago noted that the PDP has not contravened its constitution with the emergence of the Atiku Abubakar from the northern part of the country.
What you see as a disagreement is, of course, not from the prism from which many are viewing it. On the issues raised by our very respected leader, Nyesom Wike, and many others, we are almost on the same page as to the need to trigger some form of equity and fairness, like he rightly put it. But where we have a little disagreement, which we are dealing with, is the issue of the timeline. The presidential candidate of the party doesn't have any challenge with the issue of having to restructure the party, particularly given the fact that a candidate has emerged from the north. But don't forget, he's a candidate, not a president at the moment. And in the next 5 months, we hope by the grace of God, he will eventually win to become the president of this country, to be sworn on May 29. And by that time, you have a proper balancing that you are dealing with. But beyond that, we believe that the timeline we have now is a challenge to begin to trigger some of the offset that any movement from the north to the south could possibly trigger, and then leave the party much more wounded than it has suffered at the moment. But
thanks for staying with us. You're watching TVC News at 6. To some security matters. The governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, says the State Security Network Agency, codenamed Amotekun Corps, will be equipped with sophisticated arms in line with law of the country. The governor made this known during the passing out parade of Course 3 and 4 of Amotekun, numbering 700 in Akure. Ayodeji Muradeyo reports.
This is a passing out parade of newly recruited personnel for the Ondo State Security Network, otherwise known as Amotekun Corps. The Corps was established as a baby of necessity to tackle rising cases of insecurity in southwest Nigeria. This passing out parade came after a month of intensive training for the task of providing security for people of the state.
Ondo State and Nigeria.
Governor Rotimi Akeredolu did not mince words about the importance of Amotekun in the fight against insecurity in the state. He expressed displeasure over inability of the federal government to allow Amotekun to bear sophisticated arms to challenge bandits who are fully armed.
State security outfits backed by law, whether in the western Nigeria, Katsina, or Borno, or Benue, or any other state, must have access to the same sophisticated weapon that the marauders have. Anything else is a contradiction in terms.
Governor Akeredolu urged the new recruits to be alive to the responsibility of providing security for the people.
No amount of training, and I mean it, can ever justify our not arming you effectively. It's not possible. You cannot face these people without being armed.
The state commander of Amotekun, Adetoji Adeleye, is optimistic that the new men will add value to the existing security architecture in the state.
We hope to use this recruitment exercise to strengthen our intelligence gathering capacity so that crime is nipped at the bud before it is carried out.
We must not forget to commend the governor of Ondo State that deemed it fit that this has to happen, and then we believe that more are still coming. And then we must also appreciate the commandant of Amotekun.
These newly recruited Amotekun operatives are expected to be deployed to the 18 local government areas of the state, where they are expected to add value to the security architecture of the state. Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News, Akure.
To the nation's capital, where the House of Representatives has charged contractor handling the $542 million Abuja Makurdi Road project to complete it in record time. Its committee expressed displeasure at the slow pace of work on the Abuja-Kefi Expressway and the dualization of the Kefi-Lafia Makurdi Road project. National Assembly correspondent Ikeja Electric reports.
The 454-kilometer Abuja Makurdi Road project was awarded in 2017, but work did not start until 2019 as a result of its engineering, procurement, and construction components.
You see, this binder, this one, you go higher, above.
From the Kubo end of the Abuja-Kefi 5.4-kilometer road expansion project, members of the committee kicked off their oversight function. They are also inspecting the state of work regarding the dualization of the Kefi-Akwanga-Lafia Makurdi Road project. The legislators described the project as crucial, considering its connection to the nation's capital, Nasarawa and Benue states, and with particular reference to the southeast through Enugu states. When completed, the road is expected to cut down travel time, reduce the spate of auto crashes, and create safe travel conditions for users. The contractor is optimistic the April 2023 timeline will be met. It says the project will create thousands of jobs needed to stimulate investment.
They follow the design. I think we need to use it and almost 15 years.
15 years?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
15. So 50 is impossible.
But the committee frowns at what it describes as the slow pace of work and charges the contractor to deliver the project as agreed without compromising quality.
We have inspected the projects. We have raised so many concerns, as you have seen. We call the attention for our consultants, contractors, as well as Ministry of Works, to quickly raise our concern.
The supervising ministry assures the committee the project is about 72% done and will be delivered timely.
From AYA to the point where we started, we are going to do some rehabilitation of the existing road, so that all the way from AYA to the section that we have done will be smooth ride for everybody.
The Abuja Makurdi Road project is co-funded by the China Exim Bank as well as the Chinese and Nigerian governments. It was awarded to the China Harbour Engineering Company with a delivery date of April 2023. The lawmakers insist every kobo spent on the project must be accounted for without recourse to any form of compromise. Ikeja Electric, TVC News, Abuja.
And out to Imo, where the state governor, Hope Uzodimma, says the dredging of the Orashi River will stimulate economic growth in the southeast region. Governor Hope Uzodimma stated this during a tour of the river with officials of the state government and the Nigerian Navy. Prince Obar reports.
The federal government approved the dredging of Orashi River from Uguta Lake to improve access for the Nigerian Navy to freely navigate the waterways. Embarking on a tour of the area, the governor expressed confidence that the project, when completed, will not only improve naval operations, but will also serve as a source of economic revitalization.
We can liken this to 1948, to Ebonyi. Ebonyi was like this in 1948, until the first vessel came in from Europe. And then the people begin to appreciate even the patronage. When the first vessel came into Ebonyi, those selling food items by the riverside, the items finished before 12 noon. And that was how it started. They started appreciating it. So our people are very enterprising people. And you can see the efforts of those who are into fishing, those who are into selling groundnut, banana, and all that. You can see the aquatic life.
The Nigerian Navy, in a meeting with the state government, led by the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Nigerian Navy Holdings Limited, expressed readiness to partner the state government in harnessing the potentials of the maritime environment.
Only recently we established the
Navy base at Oguta, which has helped in no small measure to address certain aspects of insecurity in the area. But beyond that, for socio-economic activities to thrive, especially with the giant strides that have been made by the state, it is only important that being a maritime security agency will also assist the state wherever it is we can to improve on certain aspects of what the state desires.
Although no date has been given for the commencement of the project, it is hoped that the dredging of Orashi River will boost the multi-stakeholder effort to eliminate crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism, sea piracy, and other maritime crimes. Prince Oba, TVC News, Oguta.
In other matters, to maximize the potential of Nigerian youths, the nation must direct its attention toward ensuring that young people are properly empowered. Presidential candidate of the Accord Party, Christopher Imumole, stated this at the graduation ceremony of over 5,000 students of JPTS Global Wealth University. The students who participated in courses to advance their wealth of experience in different fields were joyful to have graduated after intense training.
Having to sponsor over 500,000 Nigerians, and this we've been doing for the last 15 years. Which other candidates can do this? Which president candidate? So it's not just about talking, it's about solving problems privately. And all this we've been doing it privately, without any government support, with our personal funds, because of our value and passion we have for Nigerian lives.
Those matriculating today, that they should do, that they should hold on, they should focus on what they went there for.
People say JPTS is not the best school, don't go there, don't go there. But through JPTS, I believe they are placing me in some systems which I don't think I would be before.